Hi everyone, welcome to All Levels Yoga. You'll need at least a couple of blocks today or pillows that can serve as blocks. Let's start in a comfortable seat. So this week we've been exploring different angles of practicing the second yama, which is within the first limb of the 8 limbs of yoga. And that second yama is satya, which means truthfulness. And as I perceive it and have read a bit in the Yoga Sutras, it's much about how we align what we do, think, say, act inside, act outside into the outer world. So here's an excerpt from yoga teacher Sean Korn. Yoga means to come together and make whole, and it recognizes that there is no separation. Everything is connected. As such, the work we do on our mats, albeit personal in nature, is actually communal. Everything we do in the personal arena has import and affects how we show up for the broader community. If we want to be agents of change for all people, the work begins internally through our practice. When we move with intention on our mats, we are able to reflect that intention in the world. Action begets action, change begets change. When we engage our past experiences using our practice to walk through our preconceptions and involuntary responses, we can begin to interact with more mindfulness and intention, being proactive about our baggage, not reactive. Only by processing these inputs properly can we change our future responses and begin to enact collective, positive change. So thanks for joining me here today. As we do the work of showing up for ourselves in a way that we want to show up in the world and be of service as well. So as you sit here now, move any way that you might need to really feel what you're sitting on. Can you balance your weight through your left sides and your right side? And then begin to lift up through the center of your torso. Maybe even close your eyes as you begin to scan your body, paying attention to any way that you're possibly holding tension. Find softness in your face as you relax your jaw and tongue. Allow your neck and shoulders to feel at ease. And now bring a certain firmness and stability at your center. So that's the area a couple inches below your belly button. And just gently draw your abdomen towards your spine here as you lift up a little taller to your crown. So what is your intention today? And what quality do you want to practice embodying? And thus share in the energy you present in your presence for those around you. And bring that into how you direct your breath in and slowly out. Beginning to deepen your breath. And if it works for you, try just breathing through your nose here. Set your hands onto your belly. And with your next inhale, feel your belly expand. And let your belly contract as you breathe out. Inhale, the belly expands. Exhale, the belly contracts. Now we're going to turn this into breath of fire. Obviously a heating pranayama, an energizing pranayama that is known to stoke our inner fire of digestion, of transmutation, of purification, as well as strengthening our abdominals. So the exhales become more percussive and poignant as you breathe out through the nose like this. So inhales are passive and quick, exhales are more dominant and percussive, drawing the belly in. So you might practice that a few times and then pause to rest, making sure that your shoulders are relaxed, your spine is still tall and upright but not rigid, face is relaxed. And then those of you that want to add a Kriya or action to it, there's the Ego Eradicator Kriya in Kundalini Yoga, in which we extend the arms straight out, 60-degree angles, stick out your thumbs actively towards the sky, and curl the other fingers in so that you feel an active stretch between your thumb and index fingers while you practice breath of fire like this. Closing your eyes and steadying your gaze at the center of your forehead. So I'm going to set the timer for however way you want to practice breath of fire for 1 minute. Here we go. Ready? Begin. Cultivate a steady rhythm. Feeling your belly bounce towards your spine. Now take a deep breath in, lift your pelvic floor, draw your navel in and up, hold the breath. And as you exhale slowly through your mouth, keep your eyes closed and bring your thumbs together to touch overhead. It's a good lesson in spatial awareness. And then let your palms release out to the sides, down onto your lap, and just allow a moment to observe the effects of that. Let's continue to cultivate warmth within the body using Ujjayi Pranayama, or victorious breathwork, by sustaining your breath equally in and out through your nose, mouth closed, while gently constricting or narrowing the back of your throat so you listen to a whispering sound, a soft, balanced whisper. Now stay attuned to that sound and notice when perhaps you lose touch with it. Let it be just those moments of noticing, just another nudge to bring you back to presence. So we're going to come down onto our backs. Take one of your blocks by the skinniest width. And as you bend your knees, hug the skinniest width of the block in between your thighs and bring your arms straight down by your sides in preparation for bridge pose. We're going to do it a little differently, but first just the regular way. So walk your feet back until you could almost touch your heels with your fingertips, but not quite, just almost. Make sure that your feet are parallel, you're spreading your toes, actively grounding through the four corners of each foot, rounding the shoulders, and tilting your chin slightly back away from your chest so your throat is open. Remember that bridge pose also benefits expansion of the lungs. Really focus on deep breaths as we lift and hold for your count of at least 5 cycles of breathing. So ground your shoulders and lift your pelvis slowly while stretching your thighs and tailbone forward. Hugging that block, slightly spin your inner thighs towards the ground, which helps to broaden across your lower back. Walk your upper arms underneath your back ribs closer together. And as your elbows are straight, your arms are straight, if your hands touch, go ahead and interlace your fingers. Otherwise, you can keep your hands apart. Now with deep breaths here, activate your hamstrings. You can do so by keeping your feet still, but bringing the energy into your legs as if you're dragging your heels back towards your glutes. Simultaneously, stretch your thighs forward, and you might feel a little more opening in the front of your hip flexors. Now you decide when you are finished, you're ready to come down. With a slow exhalation, articulate lowering each vertebra at a time, from your upper back to your tailbone. Take notice of that height of your pelvis that you arrived at in that bridge pose, because that's going to be a reference point for what we do next. All right, once you have lowered your pelvis, put the block aside, but keep the same spacing between your legs and feet. Give the same energy to your outer hips as if you're still hugging that block. So you're firming towards your midline. Bring your arms down by your sides, and this time we're going to lift and hold halfway to your fullest extent or height of bridge pose. And we'll be there for a bit, practicing how we keep ourselves centered. Inhale, slowly lift your pelvis. Energize your hamstrings as if you're dragging your heels back. Walk the upper arms underneath, maybe clasp your hands. Now find that halfway point, I almost forgot. So not all the way high. And then hug the imaginary block. Now really engage your left hamstring. Take a look at your knees from where you are. Keep them still or the same height, and begin to lift your right toes off the floor. Slowly, without wavering your pelvis, extend your right leg diagonally forward and up, flexing or pointing the foot. And let's hold at least 3 breaths there. Keep hugging your imaginary block, energizing your left hamstring, and stretching your tailbone forward towards your inner left knee. How's your breathing? Now keep your knees aligned and bend your right knee. Softly set your right foot down again. Pelvis is still lifted. Take one more inhale, stretching your tailbone forward. And as you exhale, slowly lower one vertebra at a time. Pelvis last. And just take a deep breath into your belly. Side out to your mouth. One more. Inhale into your belly. Let your shoulders relax. Side out to your mouth. All right, side 2. So arms down by your sides. Have your feet set up at the distance almost reachable with your fingertips. Round your feet. Inhale, lift your pelvis halfway to your full height of bridge pose. Stay there, keep breathing. Walk your upper arms underneath, maybe clasping your hands. Energize your hamstrings, especially your right this time, as if you're dragging your right heel back. Now look at your knees and try to keep them still. Feel your pelvis like 2 ends of a seesaw, the left and right hips. Keep them balanced. And start to lift your left toes. Flex or point your foot as you begin to straighten your left leg forward, diagonally up. Knees in one line, hugging your imaginary block between your thighs. Draw your tailbone forward towards your inner right knee. Another deep breath here. Chin tilted slightly back. Now keep your knees leveled, keep your pelvis as balanced as you can as you bend your left knee. Softly set your left foot on the ground. And then slowly lower your spine. And then from here, hug your bent knees into your chest and rock sideways left and right, massaging your lower back onto the ground. Inhale deeply, close your lips. Exhale a soft whisper through your nose. Ujjayi Pranayama. Now begin to rock yourself forward and back several times. Build some momentum. You might even gently kick your legs towards overhead if your neck feels okay with it, like a little bit of plow pose. We're gonna land standing at the top of your mat in a forward fold. And when you do get there, set your feet apart, hips distance parallel. Bend your knees a lot. Reach your hands behind your lower back to clasp. Maybe switch the interlacing of the thumb on top as you did in bridge. Shift a little more weight towards the balls of your feet And as you firm in your belly, inhale, draw your chest forward to rise halfway. Keep lengthening your chest forward as you bow, exhaling. Weight still forward. Stretch your arms forward. Let's take a few breaths. Now you might want to explore moving your skull and truly relaxing your neck. And at the same time, create as much space in your neck as possible by lifting your shoulder heads up while stretching your arms forward. Remember that as we bow up and down through salutations or any kind of forward fold, if you're feeling any tenderness in your lower back, or you know that there's tightness in your back body causing your shoulders to round, losing integrity in your spine, then bend your knees any amount to really feel a sense of a flat back. Let's do that now. Press your fingertips on the ground ahead or your shins. And inhale, lengthen your spine forward. Pause and breathe here. Now, as your weight is a little heavier towards your toes, activate the inner arches of your feet. Engage the fronts of your thighs so your kneecaps slightly lift. And see if you might be able to lengthen the crown of your head further forward and lengthen the sides of your torso from armpits to outer hips. Lifting your front ribs to hug your back body. One more breath. And again, exhale, hinge forward. Take your block, and by the skinniest width, hug it right in between your ankles, keeping your feet parallel so that you feel the outer sides of your ankles really firm in. Feet become more active, the legs become more active. Bend your knees, bring your hands to your hips. With elbows pointing up towards the sky, lead with your chest, firm your belly, and inhale, slowly rise, mountain pose. So we're gonna integrate just a little bit of that ankle stabilizing exercise we did the past couple of days. So as you hug your outer ankles towards the block, feel that sense of stabilizing by hugging your midline, just like we did with our hips. And begin to lift your heels. Come up high onto the balls of your feet. Steady your breathing. Let your front ribs seal into your back as your tailbone lengthens down. And then begin to lift your arms forward towards overhead, just the amount that your shoulders can remain relaxed. Keep lifting your heels. Now bend your knees 1/3 towards chair pose. Heels high, front ribs in. Bend your knees another 1/3 towards chair pose. Heels high, outer ankles hugging in, and then fully into chair pose. Let's take 3 breaths here. Inhale. Exhale, 3. What is your energetic approach in this posture now? Inhale. Perhaps giving yourself a smile can ease the tension. Exhale, 2. 1 more breath. Keep hugging the block. Exhale, begin to lower your heels and fold over your legs. Inhale, press the ground of your shins, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold. Root down to your feet, stable to your legs. Inhale, rise tall, let your palms meet. Now remember to relax the shoulders. If they shrug, you can keep your hands further forward. Exhale your arms down by your sides. 1 more half sun salutation. Inhale, sweep your arms high. Feel your feet firmly rooted, legs firm. Exhale, hinge from your hips. Belly firm. Inhale, rise halfway. Exhale, fold again. Firm down through your feet. Inhale, rise. Floating up the heart space. Palms meet, shoulders relaxed. Exhale, mountain pose. All right, let's take your 2 blocks and place them on the outsides of your heels as we move into a slow sun salutation C. Inhale, raise your arms high. Take hold of your left wrist and exhale, lift your spine before side bending to your right. Let your left foot become heavier and inhale, rise up. Catch hold of your right wrist, lift your spine, and exhale, side bend to your left. Inhale up to center. Join your palms and exhale, bow forward. Press with your fingertips. Inhale, lengthen halfway. With hands outside of your heels, maybe on blocks, step the ball of your left foot back into a high lunge. Bend your front knee over the heel and inhale, sink your pelvis, broaden your chest forward. Keep your right heel still and begin to scissor the right hip back as you straighten the leg. Exhale to fold. Let's try that twice more. Inhale, bend your right knee. Exhale the right hip back, straighten and fold. Inhale, bend. Exhale, fold. And from here, lower your back knee, untuck the toes, firm down through the four corners of your right foot, and lifting your arms, come into Anjaneyasana. Now feel the squaring of your hips. You want to feel that you're plugging your right thigh bone back just a little bit more, and you're rotating your left outer hip forward, and that you're also lifting your frontal hip bone slightly to allow your tailbone to fully descend. Backstroking your arms, bring your palms onto your lower back like you would in preparation for camel pose. Fingertips face down. Use that to encourage the lengthening of your lower back as you lift the back ribs and slide your shoulder blades down your back ribs. Broadening your chest. Begin to tilt your gaze up. Taking 2 more breaths. Set your hands on the ground, entering plank pose. Whether your knees are on the floor to modify it or your legs are straight, let's take 3 breaths. So really spread your fingers wide and point the index fingers forward, not towards each other. So they're parallel. Thumbs are wide and flat. You're gazing at the floor in front of your hands. Now for a modified vinyasa, lower your knees, glide forward, lower your chin. Then slide your belly and pelvis to the floor to enter Cobra. Hug your elbows close to your sides and firm down through the tops of your feet. Inhale, broaden your chest off the ground. Press through your hands and knees. Tuck your toes and lift your hips high, downward facing dog. Now first one, if you want to shift around for a few breaths, feel free. Feel the rooting down of every knuckle of your palm and the space between your index finger and thumb. Find space in your neck and shoulders as you drop your skull, steadying your gaze towards your feet, and lift your shoulder heads back away from your neck while rotating your triceps towards the floor. Let's take 1 more cycle of breath. Now imagine hugging that block between your thighs like earlier. Keep your 2 hips as steady or balanced as possible, and inhale, raise your left leg behind you. As you exhale, bend your left knee towards your nose, contracting your belly to hover before softly landing the left foot forward inside of your left hand. Come onto your fingertips. You may want to use blocks. Inhale, sinking your pelvis, broaden your chest forward. Exhale, scissor your left outer hip back towards straightening the leg and fold. Inhale, bend your left knee again to a lunge. Exhale, straighten and fold. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, fold. Let's set the right knee back down and untuck the toes. Firm down through the 4 corners of your left foot and lift your spine and arms. Here in Anjaneyasana, feel your left thigh bone drawing back into the hip socket as your right outer hip rotates slightly forward. Lifting your frontal hip bones, let your tailbone descend and bring your palms onto your lower back, fingertips face down. Lifting your back ribs, slide your shoulder blades down them and lift your chest and gaze. Deep breaths. One more inhale. Tuck your right toes, land your hands forward, and step to the front of your mat to fold. Feet hips distance, sweep your arms, and inhale, rise all the way up to stand. Interlace your fingers, flip your palms inside out, and to your left, lift your spine, then side bend. Inhale, rise to center. To your right, lift and side bend. Inhale, center, bring your palms together. Exhale, forward fold. A little different this side. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, step your right knee back, untuck the toes. This time, inhale your arms overhead for one inhalation, coiling your chest up. Backstroke your hands to the ground in your version of plank. Exhale, glide forward this time. Move through chaturanga, bending your elbows close to your sides. Come all the way down. Point your toes, inhale to cobra. Elbows hugging close to your sides. Exhale, tuck your toes. Lift through your navel as you press the ground away. Downward facing dog. Let's take one breath. Hug your outer hips towards your midline. Inhale, raise your right leg slowly back. Exhale, bend your right knee towards your nose. Find buoyancy to softly step the right foot forward inside of right hand. Untuck your back toes, lowering the knee. Inhale your arms overhead, coiling your chest up. Backstroke your hands to the top of your mat. Exhale, step forward to bow. Circle your arms, inhale, rise all the way up, entering sun salutation A. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen halfway up, step to plank or lightly jump to chaturanga this time. Cobra or upward facing dog, breathe in to coil your chest up. Landing in downward facing dog, cultivate stillness and listen to your breath. Moving with intention as you embody the qualities of your intention. Let's take one more sun salutation A. Bend your knees, look forward. At the bottom of your exhale, softly land at the top. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, palms meet. Exhale, mountain pose. At your pace of breath, breathe in to sweep your arms. Breathe out to hinge forward. Breathe in to float your heart forward. Walk or float back. Continue on. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Few breaths in Adho Mukha Svanasana. Can you trace your awareness up and down your spine, as well as to the crown of your head? And recreate that feeling of a flat back as you hug in your front ribs. And lift your tailbone as high as possible while drawing your sitting bones further back. Remember that you can bend your knees here. Now set your feet together in downward facing dog. Root down to fingers spread, space in your neck and shoulders. We're about to just energize the core a little bit more, so if you'd like to modify what we're about to do, you can set your left knee onto the ground the whole time. Otherwise, both knees off the floor. Inhale, raise your right leg back. As you exhale, round forward, bend your knee towards your nose. Pause here, take another breath, press down to your hands and lift your navel, stacking your shoulders over your wrists. Exhale, hold. Inhale, raise your right leg back. Now keep your two shoulders balanced like the seesaw of your hips. Look forward and cross the right knee to touch the outside of your left upper arm. Twisting at your waist, look forward. Inhale, raise your right leg back. Exhale, turn out your right thigh and tap the knee outside your right upper arm. Again, shifting forward to plank. Then very softly set your right foot outside of your right hand into lizard lunge. Now lizard lunge, we're gonna hold for 5 breaths. You could place your hands on blocks. You could come down into your forearms. You could also lower your back knee. Hug in your right knee instead of splaying it open for this round. Let your toes face forward, the entire sole of your right foot on the earth. Last 2 breaths, drawing your right hip back. Now prepare your feet as if you were entering Warrior Two. Shift your right foot to the center line of your mat and spin the back heel down. Make sure your left toes are slightly facing the front of your mat and you're really firming into the earth through the outside edge of your left heel, lifting the inner arch of your foot. Now as you bend your right knee just over the ankle, wrap the right outer hip underneath your body, place a block just outside of your right ankle, just beneath your right shoulder, entering side angle pose. So at just the height of the block, where you could lengthen the right side of your torso, you're tacking your right hip towards your outer left heel, raise your left arm towards the sky, take a deep breath, several deep breaths. And now notice the weight of your right hand on the block. You don't want to feel like you're completely leaning into the block where it starts to compress into your right shoulder and right wrist. That may, if that's happening, you might need to lower your block. You want to feel your muscles in your core around the sides of your torso, your leg muscles, stabilizing you to even just hover your fingers off the block if you wanted to. Now we're going to add a little more extension to your left side body. Rotate your left tricep to face your left wall and reach your left arm overhead towards your front wall while spiraling your chest slightly towards the sky and drawing both shoulder blades down your back. Feel that your right outer hip continues to rotate beneath your body as you firm your lower belly inward towards your back. Now your gaze might be up past your left upper arm if that's okay with your neck. Let's take 3 more breaths here in Utthita Parshvakonasana. Now keep the bend in your right knee. Keep your legs in Warrior Two. Using more of your obliques and leg muscles, slowly rise as you inhale into Warrior Two. Bend the right knee a little more and exhale, reverse it. Flip your right palm up and overhead towards your rear wall. In Exalted or Peaceful Warrior, a few breaths. Feel that your right knee is not turning left here. It's not buckling in, but it continues to trace the center line of your mat, keeping the alignment with integrity and safety. Take another breath in. Prepare to enter half moon pose. So take your block if you want to use it, or crawl your fingertips to the floor 6 inches ahead of your right pinky toe, out to the right upper corner. Drag your left foot in, flex it, and lift your left leg parallel to the floor, tracing the midline of your mat. So the orientation of your thighs at your hips are just like they were in both Warrior Two and side angle. Your right foot hasn't changed position or orientation. Left arm could be reaching up towards the sky, or you could be adding Chapasana, where you bend your left knee towards your belly and catch the top of your left foot. Kick your left leg towards straight and pull the foot towards your glute, opening the front of your left shoulder. Listen to the quality of your breath here. Now, if you are in Chapasana, bend your straighten your left leg, bend your right knee, and softly step down to Warrior Two. Once you've arrived in Warrior Two, inhale, then exhale your hands into plank. Now you could take a chaturanga and come back up like a push-up, or a full-on vinyasa if you choose. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Full breaths. Bring your feet together in downward dog. Remember, you could modify what we're about to do by setting your knees on the ground to start and keeping your right knee on the floor. Inhale, raise your left leg back. Exhale, contract your belly, round into plank, bending your left knee towards your nose. Pause here. Take another cycle of breath. Floating the belly up towards the back body, stacking your shoulders over your wrists. On your next inhale, extend your left leg back.
Keep your shoulders even, just like your hips, and exhale, look forward, cross your left knee to tap your right tricep into a twist. Inhale your left leg back. Turning out your left leg, exhale, tap the knee outside your left upper arm and stack your shoulders over your wrists. Set your left foot softly outside of your left hand, entering lizard lunge. Now you decide if you want to have blocks under your hands or forearms or lower your back knee. We're going to be here for 5 full breaths. Keep your left foot entirely on the floor, not splaying your thigh open on this version. Scissor your left hip back. Now let's begin to set up our feet for side angle pose. Slide your left foot to the center line of your mat and spin your right heel down, turning the toes to face forward. Actively press into the ground with your outer right heel, lifting the inner arch of your right foot. Place a block just outside of your left calf, right beneath your shoulder as you reach your right arm towards the sky. Now bending your left knee to stack just over your left ankle. Wrap your left outer hip underneath your body and direct your tailbone towards your outer right heel. Notice the height of the block that needs to be right under your left hand, where it doesn't feel like you're collapsing into your joints. Now let's add a lateral lengthening as you rotate your right tricep slightly to face your right wall and reach your right arm overhead towards your front wall, while sending both shoulder blades down your back, spiraling your chest slightly to face the sky. Maybe you're looking up, firming the lower belly towards the back, and continuing to rotate your left outer hip beneath your body. Last 3 breaths in Utthita Parsvakonasana. Now keep the shape of your legs and inhale, slowly rise up into Warrior 2. Bend your left knee a little bit more and exhale, flip your left palm to lean laterally towards your rear wall. Peaceful or exalted warrior. A few breaths. Inhale, rise back to Warrior 2 to enter Half Moon, Ardha Chandrasana. Block or the floor, reach your left fingertips 6 inches ahead of your left foot to the left. Drag your right foot and flex it. Lift your right leg parallel to the floor to trace the midline of your mat. Maybe direct your gaze up. Tuning into your breath, you might explore Chapasana, bending your right knee towards your belly, catching the top of your foot with your right hand, and kicking your right leg towards straight as you pull the foot towards your glute, opening your inner right shoulder. Notice your left leg has not changed, but is still in the same spot. Now, if you're in Chapasana, slowly re-enter Half Moon by straightening your right leg. Then let's gently enter Warrior 2, setting the right foot down. Breathe in Virabhadrasana 2. Exhale into plank for a push-up, Chaturanga style, or take a full-on vinyasa, your choice. Few breaths in Downward Facing Dog. Now bringing your feet together to touch. Walk them a few inches closer to your hands, a shorter stance. We're going to play with hopping forward and maybe even floating the legs through our arms to set your hands apart wider than shoulders distance. Now, you could even try using your blocks under lowest height as a platform for your hands, where it does make it easier to try to float your legs through. Now remember that idea of lifting your pelvic floor, like in the breath of fire at the end, that zippering the lower belly towards your back body and lifting it towards your heart. We're going to use that at the bottom of the exhalation. It's actually called Mula Bandha. It's an energy lock. We're going to use that once you've held the breath out to lightly spring forward. So get high in the balls of your feet, hug your outer ankles in, feel your outer hips hug your midline, bend your knees a lot, lift your hips high. Now where you look also creates the boundary for where you land. So look way past the front edge of your mat and think of aiming there. Deep breath in, hollow your belly as you breathe out, lift your pelvic floor as you hold the breath out. Maybe you try one felt swoop or a few hops to land sitting. Nice. All right, that's not the end of it. So remember how that felt. And for now, keep those blocks close to your outer hips as we come into boat pose, Navasana. So bring your feet together, bend your knees, lean back just enough to lift your toes to the height of your eyes. Now you could hold the backs of your thighs if you like. You could have your arms forward, palms up to relax the shoulders. You could even explore with the legs straight. Let's take 5 more breaths. Inhale. Exhale 5. Inhale, think of lifting your pelvic floor. Exhale 4. Inhale, balancing that with some sense of surrender and ease. Exhale 3. Deep breath in. Exhale 2. Deep breath in. Exhale, place your hands on the blocks. Lowest height, hook your left ankle over the right, flex your feet. Take a deep inhale, lift your pelvic floor and try to push up to lift your pelvis. Maybe you start to swing. Maybe you start to slide your legs behind you and enter Chaturanga into a vinyasa. Otherwise, you could sweep your legs to one side and meet us in downward dog with hands on blocks. Take a few breaths once you've landed. So like I said, that wasn't the only time, that was just the first time. We're gonna play with that, swooping the legs forward again. So bring your feet to touch, and you could even walk your feet further forward if that feels safer as you're practicing. Bend your knees, lift your heels and hips high, look past where you wanna land, your feet. Take a deep breath, clear it out, lift your pelvic floor, engage Mula Bandha as you float forward. I kind of landed in boat. All right, another boat pose. Lift your legs and extend your arms forward if you like, maybe legs straight. Inhale, smile. Can you bring joy into this practice? Exhale 5. Inhale, buoyancy in the heart space. Exhale 4. Inhale, an intruder. Exhale 3. Inhale. Exhale 2, deep breath. Exhale, cross the other ankle on top. For me, it's the right. Place your hands on the blocks, take a deep breath, and exhale, lift. Maybe swing, maybe catch a little, slide back or walk back, perhaps through a vinyasa. We'll meet in downward dog, hands on blocks. Few breaths. All right, as you re-lengthen your breath, sometimes a third time is a charm, so let's play with it one last time. Feet together, maybe inch them forward, bend your knees, lift your heels high, look past where you want to land your feet. Take a deep breath, let it go, hollow the belly, draw navel towards spine and up, and go. Nice. Awesome. And this time, you can place your hands on the floor and just cross your shins to step back. And we're gonna come onto all fours, hands and knees. Spin out your fingertips, give your inner wrists a stretch. Maybe the fingertips face the rear of your mat. Inhale, glide your chest forward and up into cow pose. Exhale, hollow your belly to round into About 4 more cycles of breath, slowing down your breathing too. Good, you still have time. And then from here, we're gonna give our triceps a little stretch for a moment. So take your blocks and make a train with them crossing your mat in front of you, blocks on their medium height. Set your elbows, shoulders distance apart on the blocks, rotating your triceps towards the ground. Press your fingertips into each other, hollowing the center of your palms. Then walk your knees back so they land slightly behind your hips while you trace your thumbs down the back of your skull towards the back of your neck, letting your head fall towards the ground, but not letting your belly fall. So activate your abdomen and lift your front ribs towards your back body as you draw your sitting bones back. Let your shoulders soften away from your neck for 3 more breaths here. Feel your chest melt towards the earth. And as you exhale next, hollow your belly to lift up, back to hands and knees. Put the 1 block at the top of your mat and just 1 block off to the side. Entering your plank pose. Now, as your legs straighten, bring your feet together and set your elbows on the ground right beneath your shoulders, forearm plank. You could interlace your fingers, especially if your mat is slippery, that can be helpful. Steady your gaze forward just in front of your thumbs and broaden your chest, lengthen the back of your neck. Spread your shoulder blades apart onto your back ribs and lift the sides of your waist. Now, keep your 2 hips balanced like 2 ends of a seesaw and begin to lift your right flex foot just to hover your toes about 2 inches off the ground, only 2 inches. Inhale, exhale 1, inhale, exhale 2, inhale, lengthen the inner heel back, exhale, lower your right foot and stretch, keeping your pelvis from wavering, like you're hugging a skinny block between your thighs. Inhale, exhale 3, inhale, lengthen your tailbone towards your inner heel, exhale 2, inhale, lift your navel, draw your chest forward, exhale, place your left toes down, take 1 deep breath, get long from crown to heels, and then exhale, lower into Sphinx pose. Lion's breath. Take a deep belly breath that lifts all the way to your chest. Open your eyes, cross them, and stick out your tongue. Open your mouth wide. And from here, rest your forehead on the ground for Shalabhasana, 2 rounds of locust pose. So bringing your knees close together. They don't have to touch, but you also don't want to splay your feet apart, wider than hips distance when we lift up. Keep your feet parallel, pointing your toes back, actively stretching your tailbone towards your inner heels. And all of that leg action I'm just described is about supporting your lower spine. And when we get into the posture, yes, you do want to engage your glutes, but you don't want to over-engage them, as that can cause injury in the lower back. So you want some light engagement in the glutes, but not over-engagement. Just think of that. Now extend your arms forward, keep your forehead on the floor, and hug the block by the widest width in between your palms. Let your hands be flat so your thumbs are not gripping along the sides of the block. Fingers together, palms flat, arms straight. Now rotate your triceps towards the floor to create some space across your shoulders. Draw your shoulder blades down your back ribs and begin to press your heels back as you lifting your legs as you contract the muscles of your back to lift your chest. Breathe in, get long. Breathe out, soften the shoulders down. 3 more breaths. Inhale, lift your heart space and reach it forward. Keep breathing. Feet parallel as you point your toes. Inner thighs spiraling slightly towards the sky. Think more of length rather than lifting high. The lift will occur from the lengthening. And then as you're ready, lower everything, set one ear towards the ground, pigeon toe your feet, and take 3 deep breaths to rest. All right, last round. Hug the block by the widest width between your palms without gripping with your fingers. Knees close together to keep your feet hips width apart when you lift. Press your heels back, coil your chest up, and lift your own count of 5 or more breaths. Now notice what areas need to be actively engaged and what areas of your body suit you to relax. Finding that balance in your energetic approach. And embodying your intention here. When you decide to come down, rest your head to the other side. Or if you like, windshield wiper your shins. 3 deep breaths. And then slide your hands alongside your floating ribs to lower into child's pose. Feet together, knees can be together or apart. Arms can be wherever you like. You may even want to just rest them down by your thighs. Take a few sighs here. And then press your hands down alongside your knees. Inhale, roll your spine upright. Coming up to sit. You may want to sit on a folded blanket or a pillow here and sit towards the front edge of it as we take one block, coming into that practice of opening our hips in a variation of Baddha Konasana. So you decide, perhaps you place the skinniest width between the soles of your feet as you press the soles into the block like a sandwich, or you go for the medium width, or you go for the wide width. And with your second block, perhaps you create a little tower. Sitting up tall, relaxing your shoulders as you lead with your chest to fold forward. And that second tower might be for you to rest your forehead while continuing to lengthen your spine. Feel your pelvis firming towards the ground as your chest broadens forward and your shoulders release down your back. Let's take 5 more deep breaths here. Walking your hands towards you, lead with your chest to inhale, slowly rise up. Coming into a seated twist, extend your left leg forward and set your right foot down either in front of the hip or crossed outside of your left knee, or also bend your left knee. Just as long as your 2 sitting bones are balanced. And then place your right hand behind your pelvis, raise your left arm, breathe in and lengthen your spine. Breathe out to twist to your right side as I'm mirroring you, either holding onto your shin or hooking your elbow outside of that thigh. Continue to lift and lengthen as you inhale by rooting down to your pelvis, and twist further as you exhale. On your next breath out, unwind your spine. And let's set up for side 2, straightening your right leg. try to go for the same variation, either left foot in front of the hip, outside of your right knee, or also bend your right knee. Left hand behind your pelvis, right arm up, breathe in to lengthen. Breathe out to twist and lower your right arm, maybe hooking the elbow. As you exhale, unwind your spine and come to sit with your legs straight in front of you. And if you like, you could grab a strap as we prepare for forward folds, placing the strap around the balls of your feet. Separate your feet hips distance, flex your feet, and press your big toe mounts forward. Ground your sitting bones. And if you're not using a strap, raise your arms up. Sit a bit taller as you inhale. Hug your belly towards your back body and broaden your chest forward as you exhale to fold. Now, you could catch hold of your legs or clasp your big toes. Find a little cobra as you rise halfway and lengthen your lower back. Breathe in. And then exhale, fold a bit more. Paschimottanasana. Next inhale, float your chest up to slowly rise. I'd like to take a breath practice to help us relax further, and then set us up in Shavasana in a restorative pose that you can choose from a few options. So for the breath practice, box breathing, Samavriti, find a comfortable seat upright. And it's pretty simple. We'll breathe in for a count of 4. Hold the breath in for a count of 4. Breathe out, count of 4. And hold the breath out, count of 4. And you decide whether you exhale through your nose or your mouth, whatever's more relaxing for you. But definitely inhale through your nose. So let's take one breath to clear. We'll start together, and then you just branch off at your own pace when you're ready. Take a deep breath in. Open your mouth to clear out. And beginning. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Out 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. In 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Out 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Continue a few more. And at your own pace, finish the round that you're on, holding the breath out. And listen to a choice of options for Shavasana in a restorative pose. You could set up for a heart opening restorative with 2 blocks, one behind the head, tallest height or medium height, and one just beneath the bottom tips of your shoulder blades, medium height. Lying back onto them, you could bring the knees together since we already did Baddha Konasana, feet apart. You can do one block in restorative bridge, lying flat on your back and then lifting your pelvis, placing the block whatever height is comfortable for you, or even 2 low blocks, and just setting your feet on the ground, resting here. You could place a pillow across the backs of your knees for lower back relief, and just let the rest of your body be on the ground as you splay the feet apart, just like this. So choose your restful Shavasana position to be still in for the next few minutes. Closing your eyes, maybe taking one last controlled breath before you let your breath just freely flow. Now, for some of you, you may want to stay longer in Shavasana. And for others, you may want to join me sitting in meditation for 5 minutes. And so if the latter, slowly begin to make your way up, finding a comfortable seat. And as we sit silently observing our minds, let the consistency of your focus or returning back to your focus when it wanders be a way to open up for an intimate connection with your own presence beneath the layers of mind talk. I'm setting the timer now.
Allow a deep breath in and exhale slowly through your mouth. Bringing your palms to meet at your heart and bowing in. Linking our intention and inner practice, personal practice, to how we show up in the world. Satya. Let's close our practice with one chant of Om. Take a deep inhale. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.